we will go to football, and again, talking about quarterbacks. And Rob, the Dolphins, of course, and this was last time I was on the air. Tua had not been signed, and the Dolphins gave him a 4-year, $212 million contract extension. And Jordan Love received a 4-year, $220 million extension from the Green Bay Packers. I didn't hear your thoughts on these, so what are they?
Yeah, it's just they have no choice, as I said. And I'm not saying these guys aren't very good players and aren't worth it, and it's just the way the NFL's set up. I mean, I know we had talked about Tua, and you said if you were the Dolphins, you would wait, and you thought they were going to wait because they had taken so long to get it done, and, of course, they still wind up paying them big time, and they've been looking for a quarterback for 25 years. 25 guys, including Tua, Chris, have started at quarterback for the Dolphins since Dan Marino retired, which is just a crazy number, 25. Right. It's hard to find a quarterback. So unless you have a viable option, which most teams don't, because half the league would probably move off of their current quarterback if there was somebody better available, right, would move off of them. So when you have guys like this who have put up numbers, and we talk about all the time, the price only goes up, Chris. It doesn't go down. And I'm not saying that you're automatically going to be the highest paid quarterback ever. You know what I mean in that sense. But the amount of money, because this is a quarterback league, they've refused to pay running backs. So they got to pay somebody. So they're paying the guy who's throwing the ball all the time now. And so I'm not surprised at either. Same thing. Packers could have gotten a deal on Jordan Love, signing him before the season, Chris. He was there for 3 years. He got first year. They wanted to make sure. They wanted to see. And maybe after the first half, they might have thought that they were stupid to do it. But then he has the second half, and he wins a playoff game, so they probably could have saved themselves some money, but they didn't feel comfortable at that time, so you got to pay. Did I think Jordan Love would get $220 million? No, I didn't. But that's where we are in this game. Same thing with Trevor Lawrence. Based on what? You know what, Chris? Based on what is the question I would ask you to pay Trevor Lawrence? He took a step back last year, to me. He didn't play as well.
I would have waited. Now, Jordan Love, I'm fine paying. I like Jordan Love going into last season. Obviously, he started slowly, but then once he got rolling, he rolled and played well in the playoff game, obviously, when they beat Dallas. I've seen enough. I'm not saying he's definitely going to be a superstar, but I just feel more confident in him as a player than I do Tua. And to be honest, also, Love said, I'm not playing unless I get my deal. And Tua, I don't think would have held out. Love may have indeed held out. Tua, as I said all along, Rob, I would not have paid yet. I need to see more. He's only been healthy 1 full season out of 4. I still have some questions also about his game. Obviously he put up numbers. And he put up numbers 2 years ago as well. He got hurt and only played 13 games. But until he got hurt, he was really playing well and put up numbers. But watching him, arm strength is not the greatest, but, there are a lot of quarterbacks who are really great quarterbacks who don't have the strongest arm. But he's smaller, not really mobile, not that athletic. Not great off schedule. And, we used to talk about this with Dak. He hasn't played well against good teams, Tua. Last year, he was 1-6 against playoff teams, and it wasn't just that they didn't win. It was that his production plummeted. He doesn't play well in cold weather. He's 0-6 when it's 45 degrees or less. So I would, if I were running the Dolphins, I would have wanted to see him one more year. First of all, stay healthy this year and play great. And I'm of the mindset, you're right, Rob. If he goes out this year and does that, healthy, plays really well, maybe beats a few good teams, plays well against some better competition, then this will end up being, at the end of the day, this will be somewhat of a bargain for them. So I get that. But if I were running a team, I would be willing, if I was uncertain about a guy, then I would be willing to pay a little more to have that certainty. So you're right. If they waited and didn't pay him this year and he balled out, the price would go up. I would be willing to pay that price if I were the owner of the team. I said that with Trevor Lawrence. I definitely am saying it with Tua. So, good for him. I'm glad he got it because we know, the injuries are a concern. And it's not just injury, right? It's concussions. And he's had a few. And so
I think last year really helped him.
Issue.
Yeah.
Well, obviously it helped him. I mean, if he got hurt last year, he wouldn't be getting this deal.
Just that he stayed healthy all year. Like that could have been the difference.
That's not a lot to me in 4 years.
Yeah,
I just think you got to be healthier.
Yeah, I get that, but I just think coming off of that, like if he would have had a concussion last year, I think they would have pumped the brakes and they wouldn't have done it. But he was able to stay healthy, and I think that's where you're a franchise, Chris, looking for a quarterback, and you really want to start all over, reset. You don't have
to. See, I don't think with him they would have had to start. Like they could have easily, he's in his 5th year. They could have let him play this out, and I think you want to know obviously after this year, but you still have 2 franchise tags if you want it. So I just don't think there was a need for them to rush. And that's what they did. But look, they've got the best wide receivers in the league, the best tandem. They've got great running backs. They've got a great offensive mind and Mike McDaniel running the show. Tua, he said it himself, Rob, heavy as the crown. And he's wearing it. He said he's the highest paid employee in the organization. It's up to him to go out and get it done. And I like Tua. We'll see if he can go out and get it done. But I would have waited personally.
Yeah, I don't have an issue. It's just that this is the NFL we're in, and quarterbacks are a premium. And if you don't have a quarterback, it just feels, Chris, like you're out of it. And you want to make the guy happy. There's a degree of that as well. You don't want a disgruntled guy. You see everybody else around the league getting paid, and that's what happens. And so the money and the size of the contracts and all of that. I mean, Tua went 212, and then a day later or whatever it was, it felt like a day later or a few hours later, then Jordan Love is 220. And it just keeps going up and up and up. And
what do you think the future is for Love?
I don't know. I still would have to see more. I think he's a good quarterback. The first half wasn't so good.
So you would have paid him?
Yeah, I would have paid him.
Even though you're not sure what he is?
I would have paid him at the beginning of the last season for less money. I got to see more. I would have paid him only from this standpoint, Chris. They watched him for 3 years in practice. They know what his work ethic is not like being in a game, and I give you that.
Yeah.
But you have a feel. But you have a feel for what it is the guy did. Because if you remember, I think they paid Aaron Rodgers during his first year. Like he was there for 3 years. Chris sitting there. They gave him a contract during the season. Like they saw him play and were like, we got to sign a guy. We're not gonna wait till the off season. We're giving this guy a contract. Do you know what I mean? Like they gave him a contract during the season of his first year because he was that good and special, but they watched him for 3 years. That's the part that always why I questioned how good Jordan Love was, because you're watching the guy, Chris, and in football, you practice more than you play. You practice more than you play.
And they don't practice like they used to.
But you get a feel for a guy is what I'm saying. Like if he has good work ethic.
You get a feel.
That's all.
But that doesn't mean you're going to go out there and play well in games. But he did. Like, Rob, and I said this on the show. The difference in him earlier in his career and the little spot minutes he got and 2 years ago, and it wasn't a lot. I think it was a game against Philadelphia. It was noticeable in the way he carried himself, the confidence he played with, the swagger, the decision-making. He learned a lot. And Rob, to be honest, I think that's the ideal situation for most quarterbacks, most young quarterbacks, like Aaron Rodgers, like Jordan Love, heck, even like Patrick Mahomes, who sat behind a guy and learned. And I get it, teams are like, hey, we want to maximize the rookie deal. When we're not paying the quarterback a lot, we can pay other players a lot and have a chance to win. I get that. But I think, Rob, a lot of these quarterbacks would be better served if they did learn at the feet of a veteran. And you just see the growth in Jordan Love. And so I think he's going to be very good. I think he has a chance to be an elite quarterback. Obviously, it's just a small sample size, so you can't be totally sure. But from what I see, I really like him. And Rob, I think, look, Matt LaFleur is a very good offensive mind. That's a young team. I think defensively they're going to be better this year. He's got weapons in the receivers and Josh Jacobs in the backfield. Like, I think I'm not just talking about this year, but going forward, he's got a really good chance to win a Super Bowl at some point, Rob. Because Mahomes not going to win all of them. At some point, he's got a chance to win a Super Bowl. Yeah, I really believe that.
Chance?
I mean,
yeah. There's just so many quarterbacks.
It's
and
hard
so many
to do,
teams.
no doubt.
It's just, it ain't as easy as people think. It really isn't.
No.
Because a lot of stuff has to go your way. Things have to happen. And you could be really good. Dan Marino, come on.
We never would have thought Dan Marino.
I watched Dan Marino that second year, Chris.
Oh.
And I thought, oh, my God. And he went to the Super Bowl his second year.
Right.
If you would have told me he would have never gone back, at that time, no way.
No,
There's no way.
I agree with you.